Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Catch-Up with Mayo live stream where I connect with you, my audience. I love doing these. I love touching base with people. And anyway, it's that time that I do it usually. And it's been pretty consistent for a while now. That's Saturday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern. And glad to be able to join you people again. I see Mark says, yo, Joe, I promise I'm not pushing G.I. Joe. Okay. Hello, Ramoga. How are you? And hello, Gary. Those are the first three commenters that I have so far. And yeah, I'm always happy to do this. I like doing it pretty regularly, once a week. Sometimes I do surprises. I pop in without any announcements, but you can pretty much always come in here on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And if not, if you can't make it, I hope you'll consider watching the playback if you enjoy watching this show. Okay. So, I mean, a week is not always enough time for a lot of discussion items to come up or questions, reflections, comments, yada, yada. But we do the best we can, right? How do you say your name? I always wondered. I always said Peke. Peke. PK. I always wondered how to say that. PK. How about PK? That's that. I always say PK. PK. It is what it is. You're really taxing my mind. I don't want to think too heavily. Okay. All right. Cheers, everybody. I got the famous Mayo cup and the water. And I still think maybe this is not the best idea because this is plastic after all, All right. So here I am. And we are joined by Petty Lane, who's in my ears and in my eyes. And good to see you. Petty Lane here. So what's on everybody's so-called minds? You know what I mean? What's on your mind? I'll tell you what's on my so-called mind as we get started, because sometimes I have things ready to discuss. Sometimes I just got to go with the flow, you see. Okay, I had an aunt who gave herself the nickname of PK, pronounced the way you said PK's name. She even used it when she wrote and published a couple of books. There you go. Here's a little factoid for you. Yeah, I wish I had something, something to talk about here in the back, but I don't. Otherwise I'm just going to sit here and stare at you. So I was surprised. I went to finding something to talk about. I went to the record store today, and it's Saturday. It's usually the busiest day, but today was not busy. That was kind of strange, Got to see Bazooka Joe early in the morning. He comes in early. He's doing good as always. People ask me, how's he doing? He's doing good to me, but, maybe he feels differently. I don't know. He doesn't stay all day, just early on. And we got, let's see, we got Marcus checking in. Hello, Marcus. I'm on that get rich list, but they haven't called my name yet. Haven't called my name either. I played the lottery. I try to play a lottery when I can, and all I really do is I don't play the same numbers. I just go in there, and if I happen to be in a place and I happen to remember, I say, okay, give me a quick pick. And I let the machine pick the numbers. I have heard that people have won that way. I have heard that. I hope to be one of them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to win one day. I'm not saying I'm going to win billions or millions of dollars, but I'm going to win at least 200 grand or something one day. I know it. There you go. There's positive thinking for you. Okay. How about the fact that there are a minimum of 7 super deluxe sets coming in October, November, December, and George Harrison's camp hasn't announced one? I know the Harrison estate is so lazy and very disappointing in what they release. I was so happy when we got Living in the Material World. I thought they did a real good job with the Living in the Material World Deluxe Edition and so on. Very good release with that, but then they just went back to bed. And I hear they're going to be putting out George's albums again, re-releasing the basic albums. Who gives a rat's ass? I'm going to ask plain and simple. I mean, how many times now have you re-released George's albums? How's his catalog? I mean, how about putting out something different? Come on. So I'm really strongly of that view. Okay. So what do I think of the Rolling Stones Black and Blue 50th box set? To tell you the truth, as much as I enjoy the Stones, I'm not really familiar with the album Black and Blue as to what's on it. Really, I see the album cover in my mind, but I'm not sure. So I don't have any interest in that. But yeah, I like the Rolling Stones overall. That's all I can tell you that. Hello, George. Music for all 4 seasons. Check out his channel. Hello, Claire. Thank you for saying hello, popping in here today with us. Mike Wall, Jasper, if I missed you, I'm not sure. Hello. Try to remember to get everybody. Joe F., what's going on? Have you heard anything about Paul's show last night? Was he in better form? I have not heard anything except that he's got the song Help in there as the opener, of which I'm not thrilled, to tell you the truth. I know. It's just that it's John's song again, and he's over there singing Help. And I know that it's not a big deal breaker. I'm not saying it's a mortal sin to do John's song, but why he does that, why he sings A Hard Day's Night, why he sings Help, I don't know. Now, I know that Paul used to do Help. I think the last time he did Help was in 1990. So it's been about 35 years. But at that time, he did the song Help along with Strawberry Fields and Give Peace a Chance. He did it as a tribute in 1990 to John, 10 years or so after his murder. And he paid homage to John. And he did a little set. And when he sang Help in that set with the tribute to John, he sang it very slow, and the style that kind of John originally wrote it in. John originally wrote the song slow. But from what I understand, this new version of Help, which I've not heard, is the more familiar classic bubblegum pop tune version. It's not going to change John's legacy, who wrote what or anything, but I don't understand it. A lot of people may ask about this. I also think, and here we go here. Marcus says, Paul had a show last night, decided to open the concert with Help. How do you feel about that? Of all the songs he could choose, he decided to do a John song. I agree. And I can also say that from the list I saw of what looks to be the set list, I think it's like we all expected, very underwhelming. It's the same old. Very disappointing. It's the same songs, and no change, really, not much of a change at all. Very boring to me. So while I freely admit that if Paul comes around the New York, New Jersey area sometime next year, there's a good chance I'll go see him anyway, regardless of it being the same old thing. But it's still, as a long-time Paul fan, long-time concert attendee, I find it very, 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 very boring, to tell you the truth. But one thing I'll say I was surprised about is that he does have the song Getting Better back into the lineup. And Getting Better has that line that everybody, is so sensitive about I used to be cruel to my woman. It's just a character in a song, folks, saying this. But anyway, be that as it may, I'm surprised that he would sing it again. I know there were some people that actually were saying in the past he should never do that song again. So I give kudos to Paul for putting that back in. But yeah, I'm being honest, folks. I like Paul. I love Paul. And it is so fantastic that this man is 83 years old and still putting himself out there and still offering people a chance to see him again. And some younger people who haven't seen him, maybe the first time, or maybe you're an older person who's not yet gotten around to seeing Paul, and you're making it your business to finally do it before he's gone. And that's great. But I got to call it as I see it. I can't just say, oh, everything's wonderful. See, a lot of people like to do that. Oh, Paul's touring again, wonderful. Everything's good. Everything's perfect. It's not, not in my opinion. So I told you some of the good, and I told you what I didn't like about it. So there you go. Okay. Okay, I've reluctantly ordered Black and Blue SDE, mainly because I've got all the other SDEs the Stones have released, and the live stuff on it looks interesting. Well, that's perfect. There you go. Beat you to the punch. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you asked, Marcus, because like I say, they're not many Lennon fans like you that speak up. They're very few. Hi Tim. Have I seen Sunday Bloody Sunday video? No, I haven't. I haven't watched it. I know. Some fan I am. I know. Well, Mark, you could say whatever you want. Those Beatles songs are credited to Lennon and McCartney, after all. I'm not talking about legally. I'm talking about trying to take over from John. Okay, I don't like it, and I've always been like that. It's always been my feeling of it. I understand. Tribute's okay. Tribute's all right, but come on, Paul's done it all. Paul's sung it all. I don't think so. That's my feeling. There's lots of other songs he could have done. He didn't have to do Help, and I stick by it. Well, and now you say, and it is the anniversary year for Help. Good point. Well, why doesn't he do it's also the anniversary. There's other songs on Help that are Paul vocals. Okay, why don't you do another song from Help that's the Paul vocal, or the anniversary of Rubber Soul, do a Paul vocal from Rubber Soul? How about that? I didn't, Josh. I don't know. I don't know if something was in the set list. I forget about that. Hello, Rob. I'm going to the Vegas show next Saturday. Do you think he'll do a full set? No Band on the Run, no Back in the USSR. Look, I can't get into that. Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? How come he did do this? How come he did do that again? You can go on with this forever. We all have our ideal wish lists of what we'd like Paul to sing or not. But with the Wings comp out soon, this would be a great time to do a Wings only show. Yeah, that'll be the day, as Buddy Holly once said. It would be very interesting if Paul opened the show with Oh Yoko. Oh, yeah, quite interesting indeed. People continue to act as though Paul is some kind of deity. They released an 11-minute video showing the crowds queuing for the surprise Barry concert, and it was 1964 all over again. I loved it. I saw that. I did love that 11-minute video. I forget what it's called, right? Something about Bowery Tour or something like that. Journal? I can't remember what it was called. But we did see Andy Nichols in there. We could spot Andy Nichols in that video, in that little 11-minute video. Here we go. I saw Paul McCartney last night in a 4,500 seat venue, was given a ticket. That's fantastic. Did I go to Julio's funeral? Did you? First of all, there was no funeral for Julio, okay? So there's that. Paul could be revolutionary and do Woman is the blank of the world. Yeah. Hello, Lila. Thank you, John Lennon, for educating me. There was a documentary about Attic Estate in UK. I only knew the song. Such a sad story. That's the importance of not removing work from an artist. By the way, Lila, I want to thank you for a really nice comment you left me on my video where I reviewed the new Power to the People set. It was a very nice comment. The show was amazing. What year did hip hop begin? I'd like to know. Because I've been trying to forget. The Bowery Tour Diary. That's the word I'm looking for. I said journal. I guess diary is not too far removed from journal. Yes, indeed. I miss spotting Andy, though. Yeah, I think I had the times down. There were 2 times when you can see him. One of them was around, I'm going to say around the 6 minute and 7 second mark, or 6... minute 9 minute mark. I forget what the second one was. I'm sorry. It's the second night of the show. They talk about the 3 nights of the show. Andy was at the second one, and you could see him. You got to look carefully, but you'll see him. And the second time you see the back of his head, but you can see Heidi, who was with Andy, so you recognize her too, or should. I'm caught up for the moment. Relatively speaking, for Paul, it was a short set list. I think these first two are warm-up shows, so I wouldn't get hung up on what he played. I also was wondering if it was sound check. I don't know. But you're just thinking about getting hung up, whatever. I'm just giving my opinion as I see it. You know what I mean? As I see it. I'm honest as the day is long. I'm honest as the world is long, actually. And, I'm going to tell you my true gut feeling of it, based on what I've been presented at this point. Maybe things will change as we go on. Maybe the set list will get longer, or maybe there'll be other songs added and some songs removed. So you're saying that hip hop began in 1973, that early? Yeah, I don't think Paul's going to be playing Carnival of Light, no, which is good for everybody concerned, based from what we've heard about that noise. I don't know about hip hop and rap, but I always think hip hop is different from rap. Am I right about that? Not that it means anything. It's all garbage anyway to me, in my opinion. And I'm still entitled, but you sometimes think you're not entitled these days. Your opinion. Well, I always am aware of the Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight, a song which I did enjoy. I thought Rapper's Delight was earlier than that, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was mid-'70s, but I guess I'm wrong. Hello, Robbie. What's the good word? I was going to say Rapper's Delight, I think it's hilarious that people are talking about hip hop as if it's any good, as if it means anything. I'm sorry. I know how important it is to you rappers out there, you hip hop fans and you gangsta rappers and all that stuff, but I don't take it seriously. Never have, never will. I'm sure Blondie invented rap with Rapture. No, she did not. Even then, when I heard Rapture, I knew she was kind of like playing off on it. She was, paying tribute to it, or spoofing it, or whatever you want to say. Not sure if you saw my earlier comment, but he played Coming Up last night. Do you know when the last time was he played it? It's been a while. And I always thought Coming Up was quite a good song live. I know he played it in 2009. He played it on the David Letterman show when he did that. I don't remember when the last time was. I think he's played it since that, but okay, there you go. Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you all. Thank you all for watching, being here. Thank you, commenters, Thank you for joining in with another catch up with Mayo. That's me. I think there's room for all music genres, but it's okay to hate it. It's okay to love it, I guess. Well, I don't, people are going to get really angry when I say I don't think rap is music, and I think I don't know what it is. I know a lot of people that love rap say that's a big cliche that's a big myth that it's not music. It's garbage. Okay. Uh, Mickey Dolenz actually invented rap with going down. Well, some people say actually that was scatting. That's scat. I don't know. And also, people say that Bob Dylan actually started rap with Subterranean Homesick Blues. So we could go on and on, I guess. I never thought on one of my discussions we get so bogged down with discussion on rap, of all things. Hi, Stephen. I know you never expect anything from the London estate, and I know you've been known as being a fan of the Beatles, but has it really sunk in that John Lennon's son knows who you are? I think it's a great thing. At times I'm really blown away by it. Yeah. Especially the fact that Sean once um, watched my video back in, I think, 2020 when I did Give Me Some Truth, the review, and he liked it so much that he said he wanted to contact me and wanted to find out how to get in touch with me to tell me how much he liked it. And I think that's wonderful. And yeah, I'm not going to play, modest about it. I never go around boasting or bragging, but what's wrong with feeling good about it? I feel good about it. That's quite an accomplishment, and I'm proud of it, you know. And we've had a couple of discussions. Not we're not bosom buddies or anything, but we had a couple of discussions, and I think it's terrific. I'm glad he liked what I did. He said, "quote that I have a great set of ears and never miss a thing." And stuff along that line. I review passionately and stuff like that, and listen closely, and I appreciate it. John said Coming Up was one of his inspirations. I never heard John ever say that Coming Up was one of his inspirations. To me, that's another myth. While it's true, from what I understand, from what it's definitely true that John liked, let's put it this way, Coming Up. Here's the thing. There's an interview that you can see. It's not really a formal interview. It's a camera thing in the studio where a camera was on John. It was very, very loose and candid, just to discuss, just to talk. And John said that he liked Coming Up. And he said particularly he liked the freaky version that he said that Paul made in his barn or something, right or wrong with that. But he's talking about the studio version of Coming Up with the funny voices on it. He liked it. And it is true that he liked it. But he didn't just start recording again because, Paul did a great song with Coming Up. Now I got to get out there. People have stretched that into meaning that, and I don't think that really happened. Now, he did make a quote in that same on-camera interview. John did say something like, a good song is a song that makes you want to go out and make a song or something. He says, man, shit, something so good, shit, I'll go right out and make it, like a good song is a song that makes you want to make a good song or something like that. Paraphrasing. So yeah, he did like it, but let's cool our heels, That wasn't why he started recording. Just saying. Now I know you're saying it was only one of the reasons, one of the inspirations. It probably was in the back of his head, but there was other things, B-52s more inspired him more because he told the story of how he heard the B-52s. He thought it was Yoko. He heard like people making Yoko Ono noises and said, they're ready for us, man. They're ready for you, Yoko. Let's go out there, so there you go. I never said I hated country ever. It depends on what the country is. Some country I like and some country I don't. I'm indifferent about country. I like some of it and some of it I don't care about. As far as opera, I do hate opera. I'll give you that. I hate opera so much that I may listen to rap over opera, if that gives you any indication how much I despise opera. So there you go. I do like the song Christmas Rapping, and that's a rap song, but it's got way more of a melody and a tune and, really great song breaks inside, like solo parts, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. And There you go. No, I know you didn't mean bragging. You know, I didn't say I didn't say you meant bragging, and I know you didn't mean it. I just thought I would add that bit myself in there. Uh, uh, I'll leave that to you. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. When I got Mickey's autograph at the fest, I had him sign a Daydream Believer, but I had him sign the B-side, Going Down. Very cool. Very cool. I love that B-side, Going Down. I think it's a lot of fun watching Mickey do that. And there's even film footage of the monkeys doing that I like. Okay, Joe, do you think the Lennon estate would have been shocked if one of the YouTubers had sent back the box that was assigned to them? Would that had gained weight to the woman argument? Well, nobody's done that, but yeah, I think if somebody was really, really against the omission of the song, which I am, it would really send a message to say, you know what, keep your box because I'm protesting the song and not being included. However, I am a completist when it comes to those types of releases, and I got it on the shelf here. By the way, I had to stick it here on the shelf. I don't have the room. I had to put it here with my DVDs. There it is, the red. But anyway, there's so much other good stuff on it, so I'm taking the good with it. I mean, I'm looking at the glass as half full instead of half empty in that case. So I'm not going to, I wasn't going to be without it. Coming Up and See Moon are incredible. Hello, Douglas. What's going on? When does Anthology show up on Disney Plus? It's November 20 something. I don't know. It's November something. 21st, maybe 27th, somewhere in that area. There you go. Mozart wrote some good operas. Mark says sometimes a bad song can inspire a creative person as much as a good song could. I could write a song better than that. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah. I agree with you there. Okay, I have listened to Driving Rain, and it surprised me how much I liked it the second time I listened to it. Rinse the Raindrops is impeccable, and Heather is really sweet. I agree that Rinse the Raindrops, I'd call it really delightfully weird. Delightfully weird. And Heather, I'd say, it's sweet. I'd say it's Heather's sweet song. Hello. You made me think of Groucho Marx being driven around the opera house. Quote, keep driving, you almost made me hear the opera. That's a good joke. November 26th. Thank you. Wow, I said 21st or 27th. Well, thank you. They say about a jazz gig, the only ones enjoying themselves are the ones playing on the stage. Yeah. Jazz, I got it. Jazz is really tough for me, man. Really tough.
Put this on. It's just a random selection of notes in no particular order. For fuck's sake.
Yeah. And when I went to the record store today, good old Corey, my friend, had that on. Same thing. Just the horn going. No melody, no tune, no chorus, no refrain, no. Just. And I got to tell you, I joke around with him and I say, where's the melody? And he says, that is the melody. So, hey, look, I admit that I just don't get jazz. What do you want me to tell you? That kind of jazz I don't get. Some of it I do get, I don't think I ever thought that Margaret Dumont was hot. I don't think so. Are you going to get tickets for Devo, B-52, and Lena Lovitch when they come to your town? No way. There are very few people I even care about seeing anymore live, I've seen people before, that are not just Beatles or Beatles related, but I'm pretty good with concerts. I'm kind of done, I think, for the most part. Mark says, I have to take issue with that. I love jazz, both as a player and as an audience member. Very good. Yeah, I say one thing, even though I agree with Lila I don't like jazz, that kind of jazz, improv jazz, freestyle jazz, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I like big bands. I like Dixieland, stuff like that. I could like, but I don't think it's true. She was just making a joke, but I don't think it's true that the audience doesn't like it. Obviously, the audience who pays to go see that kind of music enjoys it. You know. Hello, James. What's going on? So for the bottom three music genres for me, you're asking would it be jazz, rap, and opera at the very bottom? Uh, wow, that's tough. Yeah, I'd put opera at the very bottom. And then I guess jazz would be the least offensive. Jazz is least offensive. Rap number two, and opera last. It's hard to say. They're all kind of equal, you know. Is Bless You a favorite Lennon song of yours? You know, I'm glad you asked me that, because the situation with that song Bless You from Walls and Bridges is that I never liked it that much when I was, a teenager, say, or in my 20s. It's a song that's grown on me over the decades. I now like the song Bless You very much, very much. And the reason I like the song so much now, partly, is because the lyrics show that for all that bullshit that, May Pang is better for John, and John really wanted May Pang, and John was ready to move on, and this and that. That song shows you that even during the Lost Weekend, John wanted Yoko back. The lyrics say stuff like that in there, and says, bless you wherever you are. I forget the words, like, some people say it's over now that we've spread our wings. But we know better, darling, don't we? And it's like, obviously, that's where his heart's at. Yes, there's also a song on the album, Surprise, Surprise, Sweet Bird of Paradox, that's kind of a bone thrown to May Pang, and I'm sure he meant it, but it's just a knockoff. I believe that he had some love for May, too. I'm not saying he didn't love May, too. I believe John did love Cynthia at one time, and he did love May, too, a bit. But I think his true love, his soulmate, his intended, was always Yoko. And it still irks people to no end, but that's the facts in my mind. So it's my opinion, but I think it's pretty safe to say that, too, from all the evidence. Hello, Elliot. What's going on? The Yoko song called It Happened was first recorded in 1973. It's amazing how it perfectly fit as the B-side of Walking on Thin Ice in 1981. Yes, I remember that song. It's true. And it also has some dialogue from John at the beginning of it, Walking Around Central Park, 1980. Okay, here we go. I'm reading that. Okay. A little bit of a mouthful to read, but I did read it. I don't want to read it out loud, but I read it. I don't know what I mean. I just, look, I know that Tom Hunyadi likes opera, but I don't believe you. I think you're being funny when you say it's your number one. Is it really your number one? Honestly, is opera your favorite? Even above rock and pop and the stuff you like, Kiss and Paul McCartney, stuff like that. And Tom, also, I don't know, are you at work, Tom? Let me know. Do you like West End Broadway musicals? Not so much going to, but maybe the soundtracks. It's funny because the other day I went to see The Sound of Music, Julie Andrews movie, on the big screen. There's a review on my channel, Mr. Cinemayo, and this is a good time to say, here, subscribe to Mr. Cinemayo below, okay? And I watched The Sound of Music, and I loved it. I really liked it a lot. And I said, well, maybe I'll get the soundtrack to this. Well, I was at the record store a couple of days ago, whenever it was, and they had a soundtrack. So we played the soundtrack, and I said, I'm good. I don't need to hear do re mi fa sol la ti do. I don't need to hear do re mi do a dear. I don't need to hear those songs on a record outside of the movie. Within the context of the film, I like them, but I'm not about to play them. So anyway, generally, I guess it depends on what I guess the musical is. I guess that's what I would say to that, Lilo. It depends on what the music is. Isn't Woody Allen jazz? Yeah, there's some jazz in the credits, but the credit sequences, he likes jazz. Also a jazz fan. Free jazz I can't do. I have no interest to play Paul's oratorio. Can I tell you? Penny Lane says, I don't like free-form jazz either. If you're referring to Woody Allen's clarinet playing, I believe it's a subset of jazz called Dixieland jazz. I like Dixieland. I said that earlier, right? I do like Dixieland. I heard a few Dixieland record albums, and I don't mind that. I like big band. I like Dixieland. Who's someone you still want to see who you haven't yet? For me, Neil Young, Elvis Costello, Richard Thompson, one or two others maybe. I feel like there are people that I should have seen that I never saw. I'll start with Billy Joel. Okay, I had a million opportunities to see Billy Joel, never did. The only time I saw him was in 2017 when he joined Paul on stage in New York for a show. The Rolling Stones, I saw the Rolling Stones. Take that. I saw them at the 1989 in Atlantic City Steel Wheels tour. I should have seen Stevie Nicks. I love Stevie Nicks. And I should have seen Fleetwood Mac when Christine McVie was there. Or the Buckingham Nicks McVie trio in there. And I never did. Neil Young, I like Neil Young's stuff. I might see him. But I'm not, if I would have wanted to see these people badly enough, I would have, Blondie, I should have saw. There's a lot of people I could have, would have saw, but I'm okay. I'm good. If I never go to another concert in my life, I'm good. That's just how I feel. I'm content. Yeah, exactly. By all accounts, the few that have heard it, yeah. Opera is much better than rap, jazz too. Now I'm talking specifically. I mean, when I say opera, let me make sure I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when people are screaming. Come on, man. Come on. You say Yoko's rough? Come on, man. Yeah, I know. This is a line from The Odd Couple. Why would I want to listen to opera? To listen to a bunch of screaming Italians? Felix Unger, the role reversal episode. Joe Mayo is the Beatles info original. No. Here's my humble moment again. I'm not the original, nor am I the best, but I appreciate it. I went to Massapequa's record show, got to hang out with Capitol Apple Records' Ron Furmanek. I purchased a bunch of albums from him. That's cool. I think you're right about Yoko being John's true love. I mean, I think it's obvious. It's obvious in everything John said and wrote. Yeah, I like, like I said, I like Sound of Music as a movie with all the songs in there, but I don't need to listen to it separately. It's just me. A soundtrack that I think is very listenable is the original film soundtrack album from West Side Story. Only wish I'd seen Pink Floyd or Roger Waters. Everyone else I really care about, I've seen. Yesterday was John Coltrane's birthday. Don't remind me. Corey at the record store played Coltrane. I was dying. Birthday, and a lot of people listen to jazz, etc. Blah blah. Yeah, Corey at the record store. playing that today and every day. I did see Simon and Garfunkel. Yes, I did. I always think movie soundtracks should contain some movie dialogue too. Just the music sometimes alienates the listener from the movie. Those classically trained opera singers go through unbelievable training. Why do they sound like nails on fingernails on a chalkboard? It's horrible. I have not heard Julian's new song either, though I heard about it. I know it's out there. Some of the people I wish I would have seen back in the 80s, Blondie, etc., probably wouldn't be worth seeing now. Well, that's it. I mean, it's done. You know what I mean? Really. And I'm okay with it. Ron Furmanek was responsible for all the Apple record reissues in the 90s with all the bonus tracks. Yeah, Pat Benatar I would have liked to have seen too, honestly. And she's still pretty good. Well, I saw a show, I forget what year it was. It was fairly recent. I say recent, might have been 10 years ago. Something on TV I caught a Pat Benatar on. It was quite good. So. Okay, caught up for the moment. What's going on, people? These are just my opinions. That's all they are. Yeah, good. True. Julian is 62. Yeah, I know, because people keep thinking of him as the Hey Jude baby. The poor baby. Julian Lennon, poor baby. The one that was, John was too busy changing the world to change him. Diapers, John was too busy changing the world instead of his diapers, But yeah, he grew up. He's a man, I talked about this earlier, so if you want to watch the earlier in the show, Because is the song called Because? He already did a song called Because, a cover of the Dave Clark 5 song. My favorite soundtracks, The Godfather and Once Upon a Time in the West. What's the last record or CD you played? Today, I played a record at the record store, vinyl. It was a Bob Dylan concert, and I forget the year, 1963. It's an early Bob Dylan concert on vinyl. I played that. Very interesting. It had Masters of War on it. It had Ballad of Hollis Brown on it. I'm trying to remember all of them. Anyway, brain fart here. And the last CD I played was John Lennon, Power to the People. I unfortunately I have a memory of that. In 1981, I was 19 years old. I went with my younger sister, and we went to Central Park to see the show. And we went to Central Park. We couldn't find the stage. We didn't know where to go. We didn't even know where it was. We were walking around the park in the trees. Suddenly we heard the song Mrs. Robinson sounded like a mile away. And we just stayed there for like 10 minutes. And then we said, okay, that's it. Like we walked out. We didn't see the stage. We didn't see the show, but we were physically in the park when they started it. I didn't see that one. I saw them in, I think, 2004, 2003 or 4 is when I saw Simon and Garfunkel. Question to any Elvis fans. When Elvis stayed in hotels, why did they put the silver aluminum on the windows? It's in the movie This Is Elvis. Has Paul ever done a Ringo song in concert? Now you got me thinking. Since you're wearing a George shirt, are there any other box sets that are rumored to be released of his? No. And I was saying earlier, it's just a joke. They just announced that they're gonna reissue his albums again, the regular albums again on LP or whatever. Who gives a fiddlers? You know what I mean? Really, really. I'll repeat it again. Man, come on, Harrison estate, get moving. Join the John Lennon estate. Join Paul McCartney. You know what I mean? I mean, Ringo, I'd like Ringo to catch up and start putting stuff out too, but Ringo's still Ringo. And I got to tell you, Ringo's putting more interesting stuff out. The soundstage on vinyl. They have the Ringo, well, it's Friday Music, really. They have the Ringo Rama vinyl album for the first time on vinyl, which I haven't bought, but George Harrison just reissuing the same stuff again and again. I even heard it, and recently they put All Things Must Pass out again on the Zoetrope. Enough. Really, really. I saw the original TV shows of Batman and Superman this morning. There's nothing like those shows. I love them both. It's funny. I love the Adventures of Superman, but I never could get into Batman. And I don't know why. I try. Sometimes on MeTV, they play them Saturday nights. I just can't get into Batman, and I don't understand it. I should. Julie Newmar, best Catwoman. Well, yeah, it goes without saying. I think. The last news about Simon and Garfunkel is that they have finally made up and do talk. For now, at least, you say. Excuse me. Okay, let's hope they stay that way. Okay, gotcha. Sometimes I got to remember some people are answering other people in the comments, not necessarily talking to me. I'm wondering if the Lennon estate is going to take 2026 off, because I heard rumors that Walls and Bridges isn't coming out until 2027. Yes, Walls and Bridges is said to be coming out in 2027, the big deluxe set. However, in 2026, as far as we know, they're going to put out the videos of the two concerts, the afternoon and evening video performances of One to One. So there you go. I think they really would be doing a real service to the fans if they could redeem a lot of what they did wrong, in my opinion, by putting in the woman's song in those video concerts with a disclaimer at the beginning. You know, you see disclaimers everywhere. Even at the beginning of the film Get Back, they say this film contains some swearing, I think, and smoking. You know, so have a disclaimer at the beginning about displaying the song or something, and saying this is a from the period of back in 1972 or something. Do I think that's going to happen? That they're going to put the song back in the concert? No, I don't. But maybe they'll reconsider. Maybe it's not too late. It's not too late to try to work that in. But anyway, I don't know if that's the only thing that we're going to get from the Lennons in 2026 is the one-to-one video concerts. But I believe that's what's in store. Here we go again. Danny Harrison is only transferring everything over to Dark Horse Records, distributed by BMG. He's under contract to do that. I don't care. Elliot, I'm bored. Does nothing for me. Hooray! They're coming out with the stuff on Dark Horse. Hey! I understand why they're doing it. Perfectly said. You got a good point there. I don't have to get excited about it. You know. Mind Games was released last year. Yeah. Mind Games came out in reverse order last year. Simon and Garfunkel also broke up at the right time. I wonder about that. Oh, yeah, that's right. The videos, the Lennon videos, are going to be an exciting time. There is a UK documentary about, I think you mean Brian, not Brain. Brian Epstein. Lennon answers to interviews are great. Lennon gets questioned about Hard Day's Night, and he says to the interviewer, I've grown up, you obviously haven't. Oh, that's old. That's old. Yeah. That's an old quote. We've seen that back, way back in 1988 in the theatrical film known as Imagine John Lennon. Yeah. Do these box sets chart? Did it get to number one? They don't go to number one, that's for sure, but I'd like to know what's going to happen. No, Bill, I did not see the Sunday Bloody Sunday video. I saw Mickey Dolenz in concert on Thursday night at William Patterson University. Great show. Thank you for telling me, because I was going to ask you, how was it? So I'm glad you said it was great. I'm so happy that I got to see the Monkees. Wow. How many times did I see them? I think 3 times, I think. I always say I saw the Monkees when they had Davy Jones, but Mike Nesmith wasn't there. Saw that twice. Then one time after Davy Jones passed, I got to see Mike Nesmith once without Davy Jones there. So I'm glad I got a chance to see all of the Monkees. And I got to meet Mickey Dolenz twice. I met Mickey Dolenz at the Fest for Beatles fans in 2022. And then I got to meet him at 2012. I met Mickey Dolenz in 2012 at the Fest for Beatles fans, and I got to meet him again in 2024 at the Chicago Fest. Right on, Mickey.
This is for
That's a fist bump. That's what I like. All right. So there you go. With Simon and Garfunkel, I know you're not the biggest on their full albums, but is it safe to say it's a bit more than just a few songs from them for you? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many. I've never counted the songs, but they must have at least, to me, 15 songs that I really like or something like that. And then Paul Simon as a solo artist. So I have, but you take Paul Simon solo and Simon and Garfunkel, there's quite a lot of songs I like there. So there you go. Looking at my shelf just now, I realized that I have the Flaming Pie archives set, but I never listened to it. Never was crazy about that album anyway. Oh, for shame. For shame. That's one of Paul's best albums. As a matter of fact, when I was at the record store today, they had a vinyl copy of Flaming Pie, and I put it on the turntable. But yeah, I think that's in his top 5 albums. Mike Nesmith of the Monkees died a few weeks after his final concert. Yes. Brian Epstein seemed like such a beautiful soul, and before he died, had lots of plans for his future. So therefore, it's probably an accidental death, not suicide, but he did get let down by a boyfriend. I didn't know about that part. Hello, RIX. Hello, James. Doing well today, I'm happy to say. I was listening to Wings Over America the other day and hadn't heard it for a while. That's a great live record. It is a great live record, and it's also sweetened and, tweaked up after the fact. So people are coming down and saying, I'm not gonna get the 1-to-1 John concert because it's been pitch corrected. Well, first of all, I don't know if that's a fact, and even if it is, it sounded great to me. Playing the John Lennon and Yoko 1-to-1 concerts. If I hadn't heard from somebody that it was tweaked, I wouldn't even know. I'm talking about the vocals pitch corrected. Obviously, the music's been enhanced and stuff. There's been some things done. It sounds fantastic. I mean, life's too short to get really bogged down by that. I mean, enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. What's my favorite song from the album? These days, my favorite song from Flaming Pie is Some Days, but I like most of it. I like most of it very much. You know, April Comes She Will. Yeah, I like that song. That's a deep cut from Simon and Garfunkel, and I do like that song. Yes, I do. Let's see. Here you go. Brian tried to sell the Beatles to Rob Stigwood, but Paul was having none of it. Once Brian was gone, the Beatles did seem to crumble. Yeah. Once Brian died, it was like a house of cards with some of the cards removed, just starting to shake and topple. Probably 90% of live albums, rock and pop anyway, are sweetened and spruced up in the studio afterwards. Exactly. So how do I like the Power to the People box set? Well, I did a review on it, and overall I like it quite a bit, but I did have some things that I was not thrilled about here and there that I talked about, but overall I do recommend it. It's just that there are some things that I wasn't as keen on in it and some others that I loved. So there you go. Check it out. Hello, Harold. What's going on with you? After Brian died, Paul became their unofficial manager. Well, that's a way of putting it, I suppose. He wasn't really the manager, but he was leading it, and I guess it had to be that way because the other three were not as interested in getting it together. Paul was the only one that was really that gung ho about it. Hi, Matt Gregory. How are you? Flaming Pie is a great album. Beautiful Night is my favorite off the album. It's a great song with vocal support from Ringo, too. Do you re-sleeve your vinyl with polylined inner sleeves if they come in a plain paper sleeve? No, I don't do that. I know a lot of collectors do that. Everybody has their thing, what they like to do, how they like to collect. For me, I think that polylined inner sleeves are certainly better than paper sleeves. But having said that, I'm not a hater of paper sleeves. I don't believe all this stuff. Oh, paper sleeves scratch your records and, they contain particles of paper and debris that get in the grooves. Maybe. But we've been having paper sleeves now for, 100 years or whatever. Maybe not 100, but whatever it is, So I think the dangers of paper sleeves are greatly exaggerated, personally. That's what I think. Yes, Paul had the best work ethic through their entire run. Absolutely. But then again, if people don't want to do it anymore, they don't want to do it anymore, period. Nothing wrong. I salute Paul for having the great work ethic, because that's why we got so much great Beatles stuff. But however, if it was a time when John and George were like, sod this, let them walk away. You know what I mean? And it's funny, what always kills me is the irony is Paul McCartney is the one who officially announced that the Beatles are over. And it should have been John. He should have announced it, But, the comic book collecting was something that I really was getting back into a little bit. It's just, there's no way at my age I could start amassing a collection of thousands of comic books. It's ridiculous. There's not enough years left. There just isn't. It's not negative thinking. It's not being down on myself or down on anything. It's just a matter of being sensible. Having said that, occasionally I will pick up some comics. If I see some comic books that I like, I'll pick some up. But the idea of having a huge run of comics, no, that's done. Hold on a minute. Some of the paper inners have unique art on them and such too, of course. Even when I replace the sleeve that holds the disc, I put the original inner back. Yeah, a lot of people do that. They put it in, they put it in plastics protective sleeves, but they hold on to the original paper sleeve design for authenticity and all that, And that's it. Paul has never stopped working. He's always working. He's working now. Still working on his new album. Like John said to Paul when he wanted to go on the road again, oh, I want it, you want a job. Oh, I get it, you want a job, I'm ready to shuffle off to Buffalo to see Paul McCartney. I'm not going to shuffle all the way off to Buffalo to hear the same lineup. It ain't happening. Ain't happening. I'll go in my own. I'll go in, across the street or in my own backyard, so to speak. A fairly local gig, 2 hours or under to get there. But I'm not going to Buffalo to see the same old again. Just that's me personally. I saw Pat Benatar, the tour Fire and Ice in the 80s at the Hollywood, Florida, and the encore was Helter Skelter. Yeah, she did a version of Helter Skelter. I don't like her version of Helter Skelter, but she did it at least. George enjoyed gardening more than he did making a Beatles album. I mean, the later years when he became more disillusioned with the whole business. I think I have one Mike McGear record. I think it's the one just called McGear. That was an album that I didn't care for the first time, and it was one of the times where an album grew on me after the first listen. And it's very much a Wings album in spirit, so that's pretty good. Niagara Falls. Slowly I turned, step by step, inch by inch. Anyway, I had to do that. Okay. Hello to Marianne, Yorkie girl. How are you? Haven't heard anything about the fest. Has anybody out there anything about the fest? They said they were going to talk about the possibility of a New Jersey, New York fest by Labor Day. Well, we're almost into October. So I guess that means no, that's not going to happen. I'm guessing. It was nice to see Paul watching Oasis. I bet backstage the Gallagher brothers were speechless for the first time ever. I think from what I've seen of Oasis talking and stuff, and I don't know that much about them, of course. I'm really wondering if, from based on what I know, what I've seen, if they think they're better than the Beatles now or something like that. They were inspired by the Beatles, but now they're the real deal or something. Maybe I'm wrong. I know they're fans. of Oasis. Yep, that's me. I'm getting worried about the fest. Yeah. Have you collected any more L. King records? No, I haven't. And actually, when somebody asked me what was the last CD that I played recently, I played the L. King album, Shake the Spirit. I actually put that in my CD player again the other day. I forgot about that. Tug of War holds up well. My favorites are Ram, Venus and Mars, and of the later albums, Memory Almost Full and New. Every one of those albums you mentioned here are albums I like. They're in my top 10. What would you love about being famous? What would you hate about being famous? Whoa. I would love having a lot of money. Is that what you mean? Or just famous or without the money? Be nice to have some more money. I would love maybe when I was younger, maybe even now, I don't, having the ladies, maybe having the ladies. What would I hate about being famous? Whoa. I don't know. Maybe all the internet bullshit. I don't know, but that's all right. I always feel that goes with the territory. I'm trying to find, there's nothing, actually, I can't think of a negative. I guess the privacy thing, you lose your privacy. That's probably the negative. That's the one thing. But of course, if you lose your privacy, that goes with the subject. It goes with the territory. That's part of it. Would like to go to another fest for Beatles fans in Jersey. I had a great time at the last two fests. What about the thing that's going on that Ken Womack is doing? This is a good time to bring that up. On November the 6th, I think it is, the weekend, there's going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, actually, in early November. I think it's November 6th. It's going to be the Rubber Soul celebration, I forget what it's called, festival. And I know my friend Mikey Arugula wants to go, and he wants me to go, and he wants me to give him my answer, but before the month is over, this month. A lot of people I don't think know about this thing, so I'm wondering who's going to be there. I mean, I know some of the guests that are going to be there. There's a lot of Bruce Springsteen people. that I don't care about. But it's not so much about the guests. It's about music. There's going to be music played, bands, I think, and stuff. Going to be a lot of talks. Going to be a lot of discussions, things like that. There you go. Yeah. It would be nice to have a Linda McCartney White Prairie archive set. Okay. I have not heard. You're not really that interested. Have I been listening to the Power to the People box set? What's my thoughts on it now? Well, like I said, I did a whole video on it. It's an hour long. I don't expect everybody here to sit through an hour of video of it. Overall, I thought it's very much worth owning if you're a Lennon fan. I think it's more for diehard Lennon fans than just casual fans. But I think it's worth owning the box set if you're a diehard Lennon fan. And I think there's stuff that I didn't appreciate about it, like taking the woman's song off was really indefensible. I understand why they did it. But you know what I mean? I understand, but at the same time, I wish they would have risked it and put a disclaimer on there to quiet everybody down. I think if they had just put out the box with the song in it and no fanfare, people wouldn't even know about it. But now, because they didn't put it in, everybody knows about it. It's more news that the song, that people are more aware of the song because they didn't put it in there. But anyway, there's stuff I liked about it a lot, and there's some stuff I wasn't that crazy about. But overall, good job. And that's my feelings on it. Do you have That's My Life 45 by John Lennon's father? No, I know about it, but I don't. I'm not going to see Paul on tour because he's too far. He's not playing anywhere close. And for me personally, after seeing him 11 times and seeing that pretty much the same set list over and over and over and over again, it does not excite me at all, honestly. But if he was close enough and I didn't have to make that much of an effort to go, I might go. And then you got Band on the Run high up on the list, sure. And the album I Know You Hate more than Press to Play, Flowers in the Dirt. That's not true. I like Flowers in the Dirt better than I do Press to Play. Yeah. Did you put your Godzilla up? What's interesting about that is I've just been watching a Godzilla movie, Godzilla Raids Again. When I put my Godzilla up, why am I drawing a blank on what that is? I love the Beetle Fests in the Meadowlands. They were the best. Yes, indeed. I gotta say. Yeah. That's easy. That's pretty, I guess. Yeah. One of my 3 favorite Godzilla films. I'm glad you used the word favorite, because favorite and best are 2 different things. My favorite Godzilla films are, first, King Kong versus Godzilla. Talking about the 1962 version. I'm not talking about the new Godzilla versus Kong crap that's out there. King Kong versus Godzilla is my favorite. I also like Godzilla versus Mothra, the early one from the 60s. They're back to back. Those are 2 in a row. They made them back. Those are 2, 62 and 64. The third one, oh boy. I'm trying to think. The new one, Godzilla -1, the latest one that they had a couple of years ago, probably. I would like a release of A Live Piece of Toronto with Yoko's wailing removed. What do you think? I think no, that's wrong to remove it from that. I don't always, I've said, even on this set, the Power to the People box, I talk about songs where I like Yoko. I like her singing, and there's times when I don't. And there's times when I appreciate her making wailing noises, such as parts of the song We're All Water. I love Yoko's tour de force wailing on that. But other songs with her wailing I don't like that thing, I think it's called Ow, A-U or something. So it's hit and miss. That's a good question, of course. Asbury Park. Yes, there will be vendors there too, I believe. You got to look it up. Look up. I don't know. Look up Ken Womack, Rubber Soul. What is that thing? Everything Fab. He has a show called Everything Fab Four, and I believe that's the name of it. So get back to me on that. Let me know what you're doing, Elliot. Yeah. I think he's trying to do a new kind of Beetle Fest thing. A lot of people don't even know about it. That's why I'm wondering, like, if it's worth going. Am I going to be only there with, like, 30 people? I really wonder. I wish I could go, but it would be another plane ride. Yeah, well, I know what you mean. That's the reason why I don't want to. That's the reason why I don't want to go to Chicago. Again, I really liked Chicago's Fest when I went, and I met you there too. It was fun to meet you. But I don't want to take a plane either if I can help it. My late friend David Peel would have been happy to see that he was included on the box set with 10 for 2 show for John Sinclair. Yeah, that's true. That would have been nice. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to meet David Peel. I remember not long before David Peel passed away, you were going to try to introduce me to see David Peel. That would have been nice. I read on the New York radio message board that Darren DeVivo from Talk More Talk was let go by WFUV recently. Such a shame. It happened. Such a great guy. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He was there a long time, Darren. I got a chance to do Talk More Talk with him a little bit, and I also at the Beetle Fest a couple of times was on a couple of panels with him, that 1 hour review of Power to the People was spun gold. Wow, please everyone. Yes. A must watch by Joe, and the hour flies. Wow, thank you, Lila. Yeah, I know she felt this way, but I'm glad I'm not acting surprised. I said earlier, if you watch this, I thanked Lila earlier in this show for that comment, and I did pin it to the top. But I really appreciate you reiterating that here. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you really liked it. It's hard to do those. Look, it is. And you're listening to 9 discs for the most part. I did not hear the new Julian Lennon song "Because," and I think he already had a song "Because" when he did the Dave Clark 5 cover, which I like that version. I like Julian's version of that. David played the stand-up washboard bass with his friend Tommy Doyle on guitar. Was that with the John Sinclair benefit concert? Oh, I see. Now I know what you mean. The figure that I bought. Right. I'm sorry. Of course, I bought the Godzilla figure at the flea market. Yes. I have it in the other room. I have some Godzilla stuff up here. You can't see it really. There's some Godzilla figures up here, but you can't see it. Yeah, I have it in the living room. Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgot which one you were referring to. I'm not familiar off the top of my head what that is. Okay. You're asking me now. This is interesting because I know this is not popular, but in this case, I like the American version better. Most fans would throw up when I say that. The reason I like the American version best is because it's rather simple. I grew up with it as a child, and it's my favorite Godzilla movie, bar none. I love the Americanized version of King Kong versus Godzilla. I love it dubbed in English. I love the version, and it is a little different. However, there's some different scenes in each. However, it's not true. It's not true that a different character wins in each. It's the same ending. What is the top ticket price you paid to see Paul? Honestly, I can't recall, but I don't ever remember paying more than $200 and something. I don't know if I ever paid $300. I think I might have paid in the 200s, maybe. You know, I'd go to 300. These days, you got to go 250, $300. What are you going to do? You know. Fame. Imagine having to do selfies and write your name hundreds of times a day. Yeah. Sherry Carter, hello. There was there a movie show last week with Tim and Tom? I might have missed it. No, I didn't. I wasn't feeling well, so I decided to skip the movie show. Plus, it just so happened the day that the movie show was the day that I did that huge long review that was an hour long for John Lennon Power to the People box, which you can check out. And I had to edit it. I edited it and I put it up. It took up so much time, it knocked me out. So I didn't do the movie show. I would love to ask Ringo for a selfie, see if he swore at me. Yeah, with Ringo, you never know what you're going to get. True. Well, you're suffering from Yoko derangement syndrome. That's your problem. Well, it's okay. It's a common disease. A lot of people have it. You have your mind shut off, and that Yoko can never do any right, no matter anything she does. She actually has a lot of songs that are beautiful if you just would allow yourself to experience it. Having said that, some wiseacre out there is going to say, "Why are you, Joe, shutting off your mind to rap music?" I like Rapper's Delight. I like Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys, if that's considered rock or rap, So there you go. And opera, maybe there's a good opera out there. I just haven't heard it yet. The 4 CD Lennon box set has all the songs without the Yoko songs. Yeah. Well, that's one thing. Even though I defend Yoko, even though I love Yoko, I'll say it before. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Double Fantasy, I think the Yoko songs are great. And I also think her songs are very good on Milk and Honey. I love Yoko songs on those 2 albums. However, when I'm in the mood just to hear John, the 4 CD Lennon, just called Lennon box set, is really good because you can just hear the John songs on the CD without the Yoko songs if you're in that mood. And I think that's really cool. By the way, I want to take a moment here. Just bear with me here. Please, anybody watching this, please subscribe to my 3rd channel, my new channel. It's called Mayo's Retired Life. I'm going to let it scroll here for the rest of the duration of this. I'm trying to get the subscriber count up to help me out. It helps me out, helps the algorithm. It helps me financially if I can ever make a few measly pennies. It's only going to be chump change, but it helps. So please try to help me. And believe me, not all the videos on the Mayo's Retired Life channel are about retirement. That's why I may change the title again. It's about living life. We all have to live life. If you're watching this and you're not retired, don't worry. You could still relate because it's about life. It's about the bullshit we counted, the good times, the bad times, trying to manage our time 24 hours in a day, trying to really make the best of life count, trying to live a healthier life, which I sometimes do, and sometimes I stray, So there's a lot of good things. And also, last I'll say about it, the Mayo's Retired Life channel also is where all my rant videos are now going to go. If you don't like the rant videos, don't worry about it. But if you like the videos when I do some rants about things that piss me off or irritate me, everyday irritants you have to deal with, I have to deal with. Maybe you find them funny. Maybe you can relate. You've been there. Those are all not going to be down there. Mayo's Retired Life. Okay? Dealing with life, right? That's the idea, dealing with life. Thank you. Public service announcement done. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I know Ken Womack, he should promote it. This fest could be great. I agree. I hope it gets promoted more. When you think that the Beatles were millionaires and were losing millions too, wow, that's some money in one corporation. Yeah. Are you getting the new Who set, Joe? You're not interested. I'm not interested in getting the set. Over the last 10 years or so, I've become more interested in the Who. I never cared about the Who my whole life. But in the last 10 years, I became more interested. But not enough to get all the box sets and the archives and deluxe and all that, you know. Was that the same David Peel from Brides of Dracula? No. No, two different David Peels. It's a movie. Yeah. Matthew Smith is hoping for cold weather soon, to which I will say, bah, cold weather sucks. Cold weather sucks, my friend. The Julian song, Because, sounds to me a little like Now and Then. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. You can see Godzilla to the right of Paul. There you go. Look to the right of Paul. There's a little Godzilla there. Paulzilla. Okay. Everyone must appreciate the effort you put into listening to all that music, even though it is also your passion. I'm sure everyone does, though. Thank you, Lila. I appreciate it. Now, there's a funny part in the video, I'll tell you, where there's one part where I say it's about Yoko. So all you Yoko haters out there will love this. There was one part of the box set that I listened to where I said, listen, I can't take this. I couldn't make it all the way through. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm not listening to it. And then I said, as far as you want to know the sound quality, how is the sound quality on this release? I said, does it really matter? So there you go. So it just shows you I can criticize things too. And I do when it comes to the Lennon Estate stuff. Have you heard the Rolling Stones remake of Shame, Shame, Shame? This song was originally by Shirley and Company in 74. It's on the Black and Blue reissue. No, I'm not familiar with the Black and Blue album really, or the reissue that's come out. The audio for Godzilla is always badly synced. Well, the reason it's badly synced, as you say, is because a very simple reason. They're moving their mouths speaking Japanese, and English and Japanese words don't fit. They don't, the mouth movements are not the same. So what do you expect? I watched your entire box set review, and I agree with Lila. Thank you, Gary. You gave a fantastic review. If you are getting the set, you will be well prepared to enjoy it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, how you doing, lady? What's going on, Mark? And this is indeed Richard James and Oh Solo Mayo. This is very Solo Mayo, this particular episode of Catch Up with Mayo. Just not a fan, no syndrome. Well, the syndrome part comes in when you can't say anything nice, even one thing. Like your mind's closed. You understand the difference? I'm not saying that you have Yoko derangement syndrome because you're not a fan. You don't have to be a fan. But if you can't see past your prejudice against her, when I say prejudice, I don't mean just because of her race. I mean, you can't see past your blind dislike of her to allow anything to penetrate, then you have a problem. That's my opinion. Okay? Okay. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. In 2006, I paid $45 in the upper deck in Detroit to see Paul then. Yes. How do you feel about Paul cutting his set list short 10 songs? Is the age catching up to him? Maybe. You know, I never really understood. Some people are saying that this set list that everybody's currently talking about right now is just a warm-up kind of thing. It's not a warm-up show. That it's not going to be the official shows. I don't know. On some people, I was wondering also if this was actually some of this was the sound check, you know. Hello, Scott. Good afternoon to you. Okay, you reminded me of a lovely opening bit in an episode of Cher's variety show in the 70s for the audience. Quote, "Hi, I'm Glenn Campbell," and Cher responded, "Sorry, there's no cure for that." Yeah. Joe, are you going to get set for October and watch plenty of horror movies on Tubi? They're showing plenty of Dario Argento films. I have to really get that in gear because October's creeping up here. October will be here in 4 days, and I have to start watching some horror movies from my movie channel. So I like two Yoko Ono songs, "Hell in Paradise," which I remember, and "Walking on Thin Ice." Very good, very good. Before I began watching the stream, I was watching a "Who Are You" special edition box with Andy Nichols. Is he the hardest working man on YouTube right now? At present time, Andy Nichols is working very, very hard. I gotta say that. Yeah, he's a very hardworking man. But I think maybe now, I mean, his job may be resuming and catching up a little bit. Do I like the Karnstein trilogy from Hammer Films? For those who don't know, it's vampire movies. Yeah, overall, I like them. We're talking about, first movie is called The Vampire Lovers. It's a lot of lesbian vampire stuff. The Vampire Lovers. The second one is called, I think, Lust for a Vampire. And the third one is called Twins of Evil. My favorite of the three is Twins of Evil. I think I like them backwards order. I like Twins of Evil the best, Lust for Vampires second, and probably my least favorite is the first one, Vampire Lovers. Do you have the 6 CD Ono box from '92? It's a great review of her music. Yes, I do have that box. Yeah. I love Yoko's solo albums, especially the first 3 albums. Double Fantasy also has excellent Yoko songs. I'm already subscribed. Thank you, Mad Team. Thank you. The Anthony videos. Do you guys plan visits on certain days, or do you just call each other on a whim to go out for the day? Do you go out socially sometime without filming anything? Well, the thing with the Anthony videos, my friend Anthony, he's out of work. He's not working anymore. I'm not working. We're both retired. We're both available all the time. Lately, we've been getting together on Wednesdays, but it doesn't always work out. And what we're doing is we just go out to eat. We either go out to eat somewhere, or because he's so cheap, I love you, Anthony, because he's so cheap, we bring food in and we just sit down and watch a movie or two with watch some Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, Three Stooges or something. And that's all we do. So we're not going out and about anymore too much. So hasn't been many Anthony videos, but we're going to try to do that. And yes, sometimes we go out and don't film anything. You know, if we're just going out to eat and that's it, that's not a video in itself. I love Yoko's. Every one of these songs I like. I love, I agree with you. I love listening to Snow is Falling. It's beautiful. Remember Love is beautiful. Midsummer New York is great. Mrs. Lennon is great. Sisters Oh Sisters is great. Kiss 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 is great. Walking on Thin Ice is great. I don't know the song called Star People. It's the only one I don't know. But see, there's a whole bunch of good Yoko songs. But again, I'm not trying, just understand, I'm not trying to say that you have to like a song. Some people don't like any songs by her. I don't know how much they've listened to. If you don't like Yoko, how much would you even want to listen to? So to learn. It's the same with me and say Kanye West. If I don't like Kanye West, why would I want to listen to all his stuff to find out if I like anything? I like 2 Yoko Ono songs, Hell in Paradise, which I remember seeing this world premiere of MTV in '85, and Walking on Thin Ice. Very good, Nick. Thank you very much. Hello, Chris Hill. Hello. And it's true. Yoko inspired these people, and also the B-52s and others. Absolutely. Is it true that at one point John said that the reason for the back and forth on Double Fantasy was to prevent people from skipping over Yoko songs? I heard this. Now, whether or not it's just a rumor, I don't know. I heard that, But I think it also, in all fairness, though, it does fit the idea of the album. The album was called Double Fantasy, 2 people. and it's called a heart play, isn't it? Or am I wrong about that? It's supposed to be the dialogue between a husband and a wife, the relationship. So it has to go back and forth, really. You know. Do you get Christmas gifts from any of the estates as a goodwill gesture, even if it's only a card? Yeah, I've gotten a Christmas card before from the Lennon estate just for Merry Christmas, which is very nice to them. I treasure that. Yes. I enjoy your guests, but sometimes it's nice to have you do a solo stream. I appreciate that. I enjoy guests too. I have Mark Zutkoff, who's here in the comments. No offense, Mark, but sometimes I just like to do my own thing. But you'll be up again. Today I was in the mood just to do my own thing here. I am only concerned about Yoko's own music or contribution to John. I don't like what she does as a singer. It has nothing to do with blah 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 blah. Do I like or dislike Yoko? Like you said, just not a fan. I just think we have to respect Yoko. She got almost 50 years of bashing. Well, look, you should expect, in my opinion, you should respect her for no other reason that she made John happy. Whether you like her or not, John liked her. He loved her, and she did make his life happier and complete. He was a happy man with her. He wanted her. So, I mean, why crap on her? If I assume you want John to be happy, I assume you want him to be with who he wants to be with, even though we may not understand it sometimes. But the record store you go to, is that the one only within a distance? I don't know whether more years ago. I don't know what we're saying basically here. Vampire Circus is good. I've seen Vampire Circus, but I'm not, and I own it too. I need to rewatch it, but I'm not overly familiar with it. Yeah. A new Dracula movie has Keanu Reeves as Dracula and his daughter. Forget it. Yeah. Wasn't it bad enough having Keanu Reeves as Jonathan Harker already in Bram Stoker's Dracula? Do we really need him in another Dracula movie ever? I think I saw that's Vincent Price, Witchfinder General. I saw it once and I thought it was pretty good, but I don't remember it. Ever woke up in the middle of the night with a great idea for a video? Not yet. Yeah, yes. Thank you for asking. We talked a little bit about it. My feeling about the set list from the one I saw was that it's the same old thing, nothing to get excited about for me. I was happy that he was willing to sing Getting Better, even though there's a line in there that's becoming not very PC, politically correct these days, but he's still singing the song, which I thought was a bold move. And I didn't really like the idea of him opening the show with Help. That's about all I could say about it. Okay, all right, there you go. I got you. I get you. I hear you. Star People is on her Star Peace album. Very Bowie style song. Great track. I have to listen to more Yoko stuff. I have to listen to a lot more stuff. I have to watch a lot more movies. I got to start getting my Halloween movies on. Okay. I can't imagine. I'm sorry, but I can't imagine Walking on Thin Ice, the Yoko song, being done by anybody but her. Okay, as a big Beatles fan, I was curious to check out Yoko's albums for the most part. In fact, I heard her record her record, Star Piece, which was at least different. Yeah, and that's it. That's the fact, not an opinion. That's a fact. Have you loved a cover version of a Beatles song by an artist? I like the Silky doing "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away." That comes to mind. Chrissy Hind did a version of Not a Second Time that I like. The Runaways with Joan Jett. Joan Jett sings lead on a rather creepy version of 8 Days a Week. That's not too good, but yet I like it because it's Joan. There you go. Okay. Okay, voted on a radio station in my area. Best Bond theme was View to a Kill. Thoughts? My thoughts are that I like the theme song of View to a Kill by Duran Duran, but it's not my favorite. My favorite Bond theme song is Carly Simon's Nobody Does It Better. Of course, I left out Paul McCartney, Live and Let Die. I love Live and Let Die, but more as a song than a Bond theme. I saw Lost in Translation a long time ago with Bill Murray. I remember it being pretty good, but it's been a long time. Okay. You met this recording artist. He was a reggae. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people do say this. Approximately Infinite Universe is Yoko's best album. Have you listened to it all the way through? Here's the thing. I have not listened to Approximately Infinite Universe all the way through. However, there's songs that I keep discovering, and I say that was a damn good song. Like, for example, that thing Age 39. I remember watching the movie that came out with a 1-to-1 documentary, and I remember thinking this song Age 39 is really good. And then I found out later that's from Approximately Infinite Universe. I didn't know when I was listening to the current Power to the People set, there's the concert performance of 1-to-1. Yoko does a song called Move On Fast. And I didn't realize Move On Fast is also, you guessed it, on Approximately Infinite Universe. So a lot of songs that I like by Yoko, and I discovered, I say, where can I find this track, is on that album. What is your go-to comfort blanket horror movie? Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman is one. Horror Hotel, which is known in England by its original title, City of the Dead, there is another one. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is another one. One of the tours, I think in 2009, Paul opened up with 8 days a week. Yeah, it seems to be his MO. Yep. I'm thinking of winding this down a little bit, folks, so let's get to the end. Saw Paul in 93, and again last night. He only played 7 of the same songs, but his set list has been rather static for some time. Okay, thank you all for being here. I'm going to go now. All right, next week we'll do it probably the same time. Hope to talk to you soon again. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Mayo's Retired Life.